Red alert! Set an intention. Go to Salon Track.
Ahoy, hoy, friends, and welcome to the Salon. And welcome to our Terrarium. That's right. We are talking about Star Trek Strange New Worlds, Season 3, Episode 9, Terrarium. More Tagus you asked for, and more Tagus you shall receive. Before we dive in and beam up our crew from this gaseous planet, all the podcast things, please do like and subscribe. We are, as you know, if you're here live with us on YouTube, Thursdays at 6:30 p.m. Pacific. We are also over on the formerly known Twitter. We're on Bluesky. We're on all the podcast platforms. Everywhere you can find nonsense, you can find us at Salon Trek. We also have a Patreon where you can support us with a couple of dollars each month and get some fun bonus content. We just did our bonus content for August a couple days ago and launched that, so get excited. We also, again, are on all of the podcast places, so find our nonsense anywhere at Salon Trek. And that's enough of that nonsense. Let's bring on some more nonsense, beaming up our crew in no particular order. Let's start with my new neighbor, Matt. Kind of neighbor. You're about 20 minutes away, but the wee ho whore, he's back.
Oh, the wee ho.
The wee ho. The wee ho. Yes.
The wee ho. That does fit really well.
He's short, everybody, just in case you didn't know.
Very
Matt,
short. I am fantastic. I need a new backdrop, so that'll wait. New apartment, new backdrop incoming. But besides that, I'm doing great.
Excellent. He also had a new apartment not too long ago. Worst segue continuing. Not my worst. Again, okay. Anyway, here's Will. Will, how are you?
I was fine until that. Jesus.
Yeah, that's fair.
I've lived in this place for a year. Anyway.
I know. I'm bad at segues. We all know this. Say something so I can make that the segue.
Raspberries.
Speaking of raspberries, here's Canada. How are you, Benji?
Good.
Wow.
Our own Carol Channing, in a way. Krista, how are you?
What? She had a mouth on like full teeth. She had big teeth. She had extra teeth.
Delightful character. And speaking of delightful, here's Joanne. How are you, Joanne?
Hello. I am well.
Excellent. Speaking of well, I'm excited. Dad's back. Dad, Trevor, Salon Dad. Welcome back.
Was the well a reference to my beverage?
Well,
It's never ending. And
Or my
drink it down, everybody.
and it also kills kids, technically.
or my frequent use of well, like Samantha from Bewitched. Yes, I am back, bitches. So yes, I am back. Thank you. First, I just want to say thank you to everybody for lots and lots of kind words and messages and donations to charities and all the things that involved the passing of Rigel a couple weeks ago, which hit Raphael and I really hard, though it was slightly anticipated given a health condition. But it happened pretty fast, and you all are amazing and wonderful friends, and I love you all, and I really, really appreciate you in every way, in every day, but particularly over the last couple weeks, which have been, I don't want to say awful, but like not great. And it's nice to be back and to see you all and to get to say thank you and get to tell all the people that watch us how wonderful you all are, because you are, and I love you all dearly. So thank you for that. And then I'm going to do a quick little harken back to something I did back when we were doing audio versions of the Salon, which is I have a sort of lesson or moral of the week. So Rigel, the little dog that I spoke about, spent the first 4 years of his life around humans that were not nice at all. And a couple Tuesdays ago passed away surrounded by people that adored him beyond measure. So, Stan, go ahead and throw the picture up.
Yes.
Because my Star Trek lesson is the future doesn't always turn out the way you think it will. And in Rigel's case, it was significantly more beautiful than it started. So if your present is not great, don't give up. And that's my lesson.
I'm just gonna sit on that for a minute.
And I did it without bursting. I didn't do it with the strongest of voices, but I did it without sobbing, which I didn't think I was going to be able to do. So cheers to me for that.
Cheers.
You
to
get 50,000
Trevor,
bonus points for that.
and cheers to Rigel.
Oh, I'll take them. I'll take them.
All right.
And on
friends.
that note, let's get inappropriate and talk about Star Trek.
Yes, it is time, y'all. Before we get into this episode completely, and don't you worry, I know you're wondering what Trevor thought about the last two. He will be giving those thoughts at the end of tonight's episode. But before we talk about Star Trek episodes, we simply must, now that Trevor's back, set an intention.
This is obvious, but don't forget to set an intention when you light it, or you're just going to be wasting the wax.
True story. I had to quickly light the candle, which is why I went off camera. Yes, we must set an intention. To set an intention tonight, I thought it would be fun to go around the room and share what movie we would like to see a Trek cast sort of redo in their own story. Because tonight, Strange New Worlds felt very much like Enemy Mine for me, which is one of my favorite sci-fi films ever. And my answer is a little bit of a cheat because it's kind of already been done. But I would love to see the cast of Deep Space Nine do Ocean's 11. It's the casino heist is, they check that box, and I'm cheating a little bit, but like give me a 2-hour version of it and have them actually stealing something that doesn't just save Vic's program. That would make me very happy.
Like an
What's that?
Ocean's 8. Like an Ocean's 8, do an art heist.
I'll take it. Art, jewelry, I don't care. But that's my answer. I'd love to know what you all think. Benji, we'll start with you. What Trek cast and what movie would you like them to redo?
Okay, so I was thinking Attack of the Clones, but the clones are all the clones from the Mariposa colony, and the Jedi are a bunch of Irish stereotypes who want to fuck them.
I absolutely love that answer. Krista, no pressure, but you can either answer this question or make one up all by yourself. It's totally your call.
Because I don't remember reading this, so I'm having to think on the fly, which is always difficult for me. So I have two answers because it's difficult. The first one was the Disco cast doing a remake of the movie Seven, which will be dark. The other one, which is much happier, would be
What's in the buffer?
What's in the box? What's in the box? And the second one is the TNG cast doing Rocky Horror Picture Show.
That would be amazing. My question, of course, is who's Frankenfurter and who's Rocky?
Okay, so isn't Frankenfurter is the Tim Curry character, correct? Okay,
right.
So it's gonna have to be Riker.
Patrick. Oh, okay. I was going with Patrick, but okay, fair enough.
No. He can be Eddie. He can be I don't.
Oh, that would work.
He can be something else, but given that, remember that episode where he wore like the dick sling? And it
yes.
was the
oddly enough, I do. Yes, I do. Angel One.
Okay, so
yeah.
tell me you can't see it.
I can. Yeah. No, I'm with you.
You're always with me.
Also, before we move on,
You're always with me. Okay. Next.
The Enterprise cast did this for Halloween one year.
Uh-huh.
No one's looking at anyone but Trip, so it's fine. I'm like, what cast? I just saw one
No, no,
person.
Scott's
So-
legs.
Although, to
You
be
would
fair,
trip over
the
it, too.
Strange New Worlds cast could pull off Rocky Horror Picture Show.
Yes. Or just their clothes.
Give Anson Mount another brilliant Frankenfurter character to play. Because
You thirsty bitch.
In the arms of the angel.
I'm just saying.
Is this the first time the ladies beat us? I think it's the first time.
This lady.
I
So
think I
far.
was also I
So
think
far.
I was also slow to the draw, but
It's all right. There's plenty of time.
yeah.
Joanne, my love.
So I also wanted Ocean's 11, but with the Strange New Worlds cast. But my second choice is the Discovery cast doing The Wiz.
Ooh.
That should have been the musical cast. Come on, such a missed opportunity. But can you imagine Sonequa
Yes.
as Dorothy? Work, right? Yeah.
He's
Oh,
on
I'm having.
the giant
There's a-
turbo shaft.
There's a whole brand new day thing happening for me. I'm loving all of it.
Yes,
Yes.
yes. Like they are perfect for it.
Love it. William.
You're on mute. But keep going.
Shut up, bitch. What's funny is it's basically already a Star Trek film without it being a Star Trek film, is Master and Commander, but I would have the Next Generation crew basically reenact that film shot for shot, because they could have done it. And I was just like, wait, it is, but it's not nearly as fun as like The Wiz. I was gonna, it's fun. I tried to steer away from musicals, but yeah, that would be my pick. Not nearly as fun. Also, just like a porno. I don't know.
We
Speaking of
saw
Dorothy,
that's
that. We already saw that.
We did see that. We did see that.
Smears on the tabletop.
And if you would like to, if you all would like to see it, go join Patreon and you can watch that bonus app.
This is true.
Yeah.
Sans the sex scenes, unfortunately.
Well, we didn't record us watching this.
I have seen it.
Speaking of not watching the sex scenes, Matt.
Only because wait, did that come back on?
Yeah, you're
You're
on.
on.
This is
Is
the
this
downside
thing
of having
on?
you on this. Anyway, we'll power through that. I originally was thinking DS9 cast Titanic, except Miles O'Brien and Julian Bashir, Jack and Rose. And you get the like torrent. I think it'd be fun. But
Who's Celine?
that's
She
that's
should
a
be a
whole
character in this movie.
Well, I'm like, Celine wasn't actually in the film, but that's okay.
She was in my mind, but I'm also
You
just
know
thinking,
what? There would be room. There would be room on that door.
She just
Here is so thin.
But no, the thing is,
There
like
would be
Keiko's
room.
still on the other side. It's like that's O'Brien saying he'll never let go to Julian, but like Keiko's on the other side, like, hey, I'm cold. Like, I'm right here.
I'm just laughing at Stan's image of Celine just running from scene to scene singing on the Titanic.
My other one that Krista actually triggered, because I think it fits perfectly, is Voyager cast reenacting Clue.
Oh, good.
I think
Tim
that
Curry.
would be that's my real answer. Voyager cast Clue, and
Only if
Janeway-
Neelix is the one that delivers the singing telegram.
God.
Yes, or I was gonna say he was the chef that gets stabbed, but like, and Janeway is obviously the butler. Like, yeah. So I
Oh
think it would be-
no!
No,
I just
Janeway
realized
is-
you're right. Neelix would be the chef that got stabbed, and Kess would be the singing telegram.
oh.
Yeah, well, it does fit really well, though.
Yeah.
Or I mean, maybe it's
So
on the
that-
holodeck. Neelix could be all of the characters who die.
And that horrible woman that was an undercover Kardashian, she could be Miss Scarlet. Was it
Seska.
Sela? It's not Sela. Is it
Seska.
Seska.
That's
Fresca? Yeah, Fresca. Sasquatch.
I would also love to see.
Will.
I
Will.
want Balana to be.
Is this
Colonel
a Star
Mustard.
War?
Is this a Star War? Yeah, is this a Star War?
We could do a whole salon on this. I'm thinking Last of the Mohicans.
Yeah.
Listen, honestly, just
We just pick a random movie and then a random cast, and then we'll have to decide who plays
who is
what.
who.
Yeah.
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 I mean,
Choose a
There-
movie and then just pull actors.
there is a bonus content poll on our Patreon, and the current winner is rewriting Trek episodes, and this could fit in that vein. Just pick a movie and put a
Go to
cast.
our Patreon and vote for it.
Yeah,
Robin Hood, Men in Tights.
and that's the free bit, so you can join for free.
But why would you?
That's fine.
What's your answer, Stanley?
Great question, Krista. Thank you.
Thanks for teeing us up on that one.
Thank you so much.
No problem. I'm here.
Beautiful segue. I could never. My favorite
I literally
movie
have
of
a
all
tassel lodged in my ass. Sorry.
my favorite
Decorative tassel.
is everybody settled? Is everybody settled?
Push
I have
the
decorative
button.
tassel crime. I'm fine.
And we're back. My favorite movie of all time fluctuates between three, but the one that I think fits this prompt the most, although I do still take exception, and I think Trevor is trolling me for constantly bitching about this show, Strange New Worlds, being unoriginal.
Moi,
Oh,
a troll.
let's have Star Trek do another unoriginal idea.
Never. I would never troll you, Stanley.
But my 9 times out of 10, depending on my mood, it's one of three things, but 9 times out of 10, it's Hook. I love Hook. And I'm torn who Nana would be, because it's got to be the Deep Space Nine cast. I mean, all of them could be fun, but
Tinkerbell.
Nana,
Tinkerbell.
I'm torn between Tinker or Peter.
Oh, she can play either.
Especially because, like, the stage version, it's usually played by a woman because of the vocal range. But that's a musical. But yeah, I think Tinkerbell, like Nana playing the Julia Roberts part, because Julia Roberts as Tinkerbell was a wild swing, and it still works for me. And a fun cameo from Ms. Glenn Close. For folks who are unaware, she was the one put in the boo box. I love that movie, and the Deep Space Nine cast would be fucking great.
And
You know what
Avery's
else they would be good at?
Hook, right?
Oh, absolutely. And
Great.
he would eat that up.
Janeway
Sorry.
as Rizzo
In Greece, yeah.
in
She's not wrong.
Greece.
Well, y'all, the intentions are set. And Mr. Ellison, if you're taking pitches still, you just got some good ones. So get
For free.
excited. Yeah. And you know, since we're redoing movies that have already been done, let's talk about tonight's episode. I will kick off the top thoughts section as always. I've come around to this episode. Trevor and I had a fun debate via text late last night. But I've come around. I like this episode. I have plenty of nitpicks, but they boil down to, well, that's not what I would do. And I don't think that's fair. I've also come to the realization with this show that I'm the problem as much as the show is. And I want to recognize the show is to me personally in some ways. And I want to recognize that because I think it's important with the more toxic parts of the fandom bemoaning things like Section 31, even though that was exactly what they told us it was going to be. For me, with Strange New Worlds, I've struggled overall, and it was several episodes this season. This episode, I was pulled back because it's a good episode. It's not terribly original, but what is? Everything is derived from something else these days. There's no truly original story anymore. It's all romance or adventure or hero's journey or villain origin or prequel, whatever. Like, the execution is where things get interesting. And I thought this episode did a few things really well. I thought they explained some things that typically this show would completely space, like the shuttle not having a phaser on it. It's because they needed it to be as light as possible. Cool. I can get on board with that. They've also done a really good job with Ortegas this season, like not completely ignoring her the way that they have, but sprinkling some things in, like her being a mechanic being sprinkled in a few episodes ago comes to play with her tinkering with shit in this episode. It's like, oh, there's a natural progression there. So like they've done a better job with her in that vein than they have the entire series. All of that said, the Gorn trauma resolution story, I really enjoyed. I like when people can see their enemy in a new light, can realize, oh, I had something wrong. Not everybody is the same. And it was done pretty well. My nitpicks, I don't know if it's the character or the actor, but I don't think this kind of mostly by yourself story was carried terribly well by this particular character. Maybe the actor, I hate to say it, I haven't seen any of her other work, but did well enough with the material given that it was a compelling story to me. And plenty more to say, including like the Metrons was unnecessary, and it feels like they're just hand waving the box that they've written themselves into rather than do something a little more interesting with what's going on with the Gorn. But I digress, and Trevor will disagree with me in a moment, but he goes last. Let's go to Matt. Matt, your top thoughts on this episode?
First top thought, right off the bat, it's too fucking dark. I am so goddamn sick of every fucking modern sci-fi. Oh, well, it's really dark in space, so we're going to make it impossible. I would like to watch the goddamn show. I was watching it on my iPad with the I know, babies. I'm sorry. Jedzi is very upset too. With the like brightness turned up to 100%, and I still couldn't see a goddamn thing on that asteroid. That's unforgivable to me. I would like to watch the show. I would like to see her reactions. I would like to see the Gorn. I would like, that is just, it sent me right screaming back to Discovery. The issues that I had with Discovery of, thank you, exactly. Besides that, the plot itself, I thought was kind of cute. It was very like, you know, be friends with your enemy, very Star Trek, very, it felt like it fit. I kind of almost, I hate to say it, but like every time she's almost gonna die, I'm like, she could have just died there with the Gorn, and that would have been a really like
and
nice
just
bow.
It,
like it would have been a really cute bow. Like, oh, she made friends. That's why we still don't know about the Gorn, because they both died. We couldn't like, you know, like all they could salvage was her audio logs, or you know, it was an episode. I loved Uhura. Celia was fantastic. I loved seeing that relationship really pull on her with, you know, losing her best friend on the ship, or potentially losing her best friend, especially after her best friend's brother just told her she lost her only other friend on another, you know, the other ship. What was it called?
The Cayuga.
Ensign somebody.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, overall, good episode. I loved the Queen at the end with that wraparound, you know, she was giving. She had like
the execution was fantastic.
It was
like
cunt.
Sexy.
The way that she was just,
unnecessary but sexy. Much like myself.
We're the Metro. No, not we're the Yeah, the Metrons. I want to say Medusans, but you know, we speak as a collective voice, and we're all bald, and we're all very ambiguous. And you want to fuck us, and we might fuck with your entire brain, but we're gonna do it again. Ugh. Like, I like that. I thought it was fun. So, yeah, look
Thank
at
you.
that queen. Look at that. So, anyway, that was my top thoughts.
I didn't
also,
have
we
her
threw
without
the
my sass attached. I apologize, but I did want to show the image of the Metron too.
As you should. I just also want to say, Captain Pike, we put the Enterprise in the middle of a lot of things really quickly for not a lot of reasons. Like that, he's willing to sacrifice that ship faster than anybody else.
Get in that hole.
Problematic gay alert.
It's the 14-year-old humor that really does it for me.
All right, get out of my hole and go to
Salon.
Will.
That's the clip. That's the salon. Will, what were your top thoughts on this episode?
Well, didn't love it. It's a well trotted like Star Trek, like, oh, we're gonna do this episode is just this person. They're with an alien. It was very like, you know, Odo and Quark on the planet. It was very Darmok by the ocean. It was very that, which I appreciate. But this the fuck, like, it's like the second to last episode of the season. This is a boot. Like this season started so strong. Like I was like, oh, they're fine. They've done it. They've hit they finally like are doing something interesting with this. And then they go, oh, we're gonna have this silly dumb episode that everyone's gonna fucking hate. And then we're gonna do this because we wrote ourselves into a weird corner with the Gorn. And it's like, I get what I saw the mechanics of why this episode was written, because they hadn't done anything with Ortegas and they got a lot of fan pushback from that. And then they went, oh, they also had this issue with the Gorn. So why don't we kill two birds with one shuttle and then like do this thing? So I was very aware of the mechanics of this episode and why it was written and why they're like, well, let's do this. It's an interesting spin on things. But this show is addicted to telling the origin of everything. I don't fucking care. I don't care. I don't need an answer to everything. I don't need to know that the Metrons have been fucking around with this for a long time. Like, it would be interesting if there was an interaction with them. We didn't know who they were. Like, if there was like some interaction that was not just them, this constant drumbeat of let's just remake every episode of the original series. But like, we have an AR wall now. I'm like, who fucking cares? Like, I know no story is technically original anymore. Whatever. You can tell an interesting story. This wasn't super interesting. Like, I love that the Gorn was a puppet. I love that it was like a practical piece because it's so easy just to go CG. And I like that there was like a practice. That's the one thing I will give them. Them going full puppet with the Gorn is fantastic. The visual effects are always cunty as shit. But like, at what point am I supposed to like actually like at what point does that stop satiating me with this show? And not to be super dramatic or anything. I'm not going to go off the handle and say I can't watch the show anymore because I'm some fucking weak little bitch or whatever. Not saying that. What I'm saying is the show has a timeline. This show has a terminus. We know it is ending. Yet they are telling this stories from 60 years ago. And not in a way where I'm like, oh, that's fun. Like, bring this character back. This person's company, you know, blah, blah, blah. Like, when they brought in, like, a good example is in Discovery when they brought Harry Mudd in randomly for one episode. It was a fantastic episode because it's something we didn't really see in the show. There was an interesting relationship. There was cool. Like, I thought Rainn Wilson was really fabulous in the role. But now they're just like, it's like they have a check mark. They're just checking boxes for how close they can get to the original series before some 70-year-old gets pissed and stops watching, because now there's the original series so far removed from the regular watcher that now they can get away with like just retreading stuff. It's fucking boring. I was bored. I caught myself literally cleaning Walter's ears during the episode, and I didn't miss a thing. And Walter doesn't like his ears to be cleaned. So, and that takes my full attention. And I looked up and I was like, she's still there. Cool. I didn't need to watch. This episode holds no consequence. And Ortega should have died. Anyway, Joanne, your thoughts? I've taken enough time.
So I'll start positive. How about that? What I liked once again that they're continuing this theme. They are working this theme about perspective and monsters, and who are you and who you are depends on where you sit and all of these things. I love that they're working this theme, and I don't think they're getting enough credit for that. I also like there was a little subtext about the part of how we discover that who we are and who other people are is through communication. Like I thought that agree disagree moments with the Gorn was actually very brilliant and kind of well played. Um, here are my series of controversial yet brave statements. I do not like Ortega's, and so I was very ready for her to die. Um, so I'm very disappointed that she did not. Um, I think, and that was my overall feeling with the episode. I'm disappointed, not that it was particularly bad, but for me, pardon me, this gave to me, it spoke of them listening far too much to the needs and wants of this toxic bullshit fandom. And I just wish they'd had the bravery to just break the canon, um, not worry about the Metrons and TOS, and to Will's point, tell an interesting story, no matter what it did. But I felt like all of this, from it being Ortega centered to the Metron queen at the end, trying to address Gorn. And it made me watch Arena again afterwards because I was like, what is going on? So I was angry about that. But, you know, and it still didn't, I didn't think the Gorn broke Arena to begin with. And I still think whatever this was unnecessary. But so I was just frustrated with them refusing to be brave and just tell the story they want to tell. So it wasn't bad, but it just I was disappointed, I guess, is where I was. I was in my feelings about this. And just overall, across the board, again, this will be my final controversial yet brave. Well, no, probably won't be my final, but in this segment, controversial yet brave statement. I want us all as a fandom, particularly those of us who talk about Star Trek regularly, to take it wasn't Star Trek out of our vocabulary, because this is what we get when we propagate this. So I will stop there. Although when we get to the end, I'm going to come back. We need to talk about Laan shooting this Gorn on sight.
Yeah.
Problematic, but I'm not ready. We can carry on. Krista friend.
I think for me, the entire thing from beginning to end was completely predictable because it combined elements of so many previously established episodes and movies that I watched. And coincidentally, today I also watched Best Marigold Hotel, in which Maggie Smith plays a character that has to come to terms with some preconceived notions and realize that her basic bigotry and prejudice and personal bias is not valid across the board, that she's basically wrong. And I can tell you that was a much more enjoyable lesson than the same lesson in this show. This show, I don't even think it's controversial and brave to say that you don't like the Ortegas character. I say, fuck you for doing a whole episode with Ortegas after not giving me anything about this character in which I could invest. You've just dedicated an entire thing for this kind of moral story. You want me to feel, that there's like this whole learning curve happening. And it would have been more interesting if it wasn't entirely every single thing was predictable, including La'an's actions. Not surprised in the least. It had to happen that way. And starting out, I knew that Ortegas wasn't going to die. So I'm not invested in it. It's kind of like the Jon Snow of it. I'm not invested because bitch isn't going to die. I could leave the room, come back. It's going to be the same story. I know they're going to survive. I also know that Pike is going to, without fail, like, please don't be the people waiting for the Enterprise to show up with your vaccines, because these fuckers will be waylaid over mostly things involving their own officer staff. Like, don't depend on us. And we're going to plug this hole with the whole ship. We're just going to sit in the middle of this flaming hole, and we're going to hold it open. I tried desperately to come up with, I like the snake skins for decor. I thought that was fun. I thought it was funny that the
Wow, I really wish I could have seen that.
The warm folks
Didn't even know. Didn't know. No idea.
Yeah.
Thought that was
the
fabric.
worm skin, you didn't notice that? That was
Krista,
all.
I could not see a goddamn thing.
Well, and I think the thing is that like optically, they were trying very hard to express in numerous ways the sort of bleak circumstances. So they did it all in black and white and grays, and it was very dark. But how do you have a little, roundabout, doesn't have a fucking phaser? How much does a fucking phaser weigh? Go fuck yourself. How much does a fucking phaser weigh? It doesn't, okay?
What can a phaser weigh, Michael? 10 pounds?
That's an entire compliment. But like, you don't have any dried fucking food. How do you get in these things and you not have any of the things that you need? You don't have any fucking toilet paper, no ass wipes. You don't have anything that you need if you happen to crash after you manually drive this thing. I mean, it's some of the stuff is so plot contrived. It's so, like, of course, like, as soon as she saw the cave, I was like, there's going to be a fucking Gorn in there. Lo and behold, there's a Gorn in there, a forlorn Gorn. We have a apolitical Gorn. She's having a crisis of conscience. She's throwing beef, raw beef. Have some of this. Just fuck off.
And those are Krista's top thoughts on this episode. Benji, what were your
Moving on
this episode?
Forlorn Gorn, though, that needs highlighted. I want
Forlorn Gorn.
that wins. Oh boy. Well, I think it's all been said for the most part. I was glad we did finally get an Erica episode. Now please kill her. I am starting to think that maybe it is the actress that's part of this. Yeah, it's all been said. Like, it's another Trek trope episode. They've been trying to pump out every single Trek trope in the book, just again to satisfy the Kens of the world.
And failing miserably at that.
And still failing, and he still hates them. I did also force myself to watch Arena after this, and it is a stupid fucking episode. I kind of like that they do explain like one bit, like how the Enterprise ends up in the middle of nowhere. It's like, oh, now we know it's a wormhole, which Ortega's decided to fly into the middle of because she thought it was a hurricane or something, but just decided to fly into a hole. I don't know.
I mean, who among
The
us?
thing that thing I've been, I mean, I think about this all the time. Basically, is like how the hell do conservatives enjoy Star Trek? And I think we've all sort of identified that a lot of it is because they portray a lot of aliens as a scary monolith, and so what they always do is they show like like there's one, you know, like Romulan, and I think, is it the enemy in TNG? There's always sort of like one individual in that group that the person can connect with and humanize. And like I was complaining before that, you know, the Gorn were being portrayed as monsters, and that's exactly why conservatives identify with Star Trek, and that we're dehumanizing like an entire group of people. But then they have these episodes where they have sort of like this one person from their group representing them to show us that they're more than what we think. But it doesn't work, because that, to me, that's what they're showing is sort of the exception, not the rule. They still end up portraying that group as a monolith. And each group, and I have to say they actually did this better in Picard of all places, where they actually tried to portray the Romulans as a really diverse, different group where everybody's different. You know, everybody in, you know, Canada or America is the same as anyone in any other country in the world. Like we're all, everybody. I always say everybody in the world is all the same. Like we are all the same. There's like a mix of people wherever you go. There's a mix of people in every culture, and that still, if this is the one place that they're going to try to humanize other peoples or groups or species, this doesn't achieve that, because they're still not portraying that culture as diverse. They're portraying it as a monolith, and then there's this one person that's an exception. It just doesn't work, and they keep doing it over and over and over again, and we keep wondering what the heck these people see in Star Trek, and it's this. So I really like this one character, and I usually like that one character in that episode, but I don't think this model works, and they keep repeating it over and over and over again. It's a fine episode, but or it is often a fine episode, but I don't think the format isn't doing it for me, and it's not making Star Trek like the progressive thing that we all think it is supposed to be. And Strange New Worlds, as folks have been saying tonight, is a show of capitulation. And so I will just leave it at that.
You're all wrong. That's all. No, I hear all of the criticism and the critique, and I don't disagree necessarily. It didn't strike me or rub me as negatively as I think it did everyone. Like it didn't bother me as much as everyone else. Partly because, and I recognize my own bias, I shared it at the beginning of this episode. I love the movie Enemy Mine, and this is basically what it was. And I don't mind delving into something that I absolutely love from a Trek perspective. My biggest criticism of the entire episode is that it was Mortegas, but with the wrong Ortegas. I'm much more interested in her brother than I am her, and that says everything about the writing of this character, because I should be more interested in Erica than I am Beto, but I'm not. I also have to say that even though I think she was at a disadvantage, because I think it's really hard to act by yourself and also provide expositional dialogue in a format that you're basically talking to yourself, but do it in a way that's natural. That being said, as a non-professional actor, I still feel like she didn't do a terribly good job of doing that. It felt like she was narrating, not like she was talking to herself. And I don't know if that was an actor choice or a director choice or a combination of the two, or editing or what, but it just didn't work for me. So my biggest criticism was actually Melissa's performance, which I hate to say, but that's just where I am. I didn't mind everything else about the episode. I enjoyed not only the adventure but sort of the catalyst for it, of like, oopsie, we're in a wormhole, and crashing on a random planet or moon where there were so many that they couldn't scan for her and fast enough, and all of those things made sense. The actual mission itself was a little sketchy, but the accident that led her there and then the subsequent search was good. Also love a wormhole reference, just because hashtag Deep Space Nine. I loved one thing that I didn't think we mentioned or didn't mention enough is I absolutely loved Una first officering. It was just sort of perfect, because I don't know Rebecca Romaine's work enough to know, like, how many bosses has she had who needed to be tough but also empathetic? But like, that's exactly who she's decided Una is, because that's exactly what she was delivering. Like, she had to give the tough message, but she wasn't being a dick about it. So go women in leadership.
That was not supposed to pop up yet.
Yes. I also particularly enjoyed,
Or at
and I know
all.
I'm focusing a lot on things that weren't Ortega's for a reason. As I've already mentioned, I wasn't fond of Melissa's performance, but Uhura's evolution, particularly in this episode, of now being someone who's comfortable breaking the rules a little bit in order to accomplish the mission, but then realizing I fucked up, I need to tell the captain, like actually owning her decision. Her showing emotion at her station, but not letting anyone see her do it. I would be lying if I said I've never cried at work, but no one's ever seen me do it. So I kind of loved that scene of, you know what I mean? Like, she experienced a feeling, she was going through some stuff, but she wasn't going to just like start blubbering to the captain. It was, we've all been there. We've all been her in that spot. We've also all been new in our field, and being good at something, but being experienced at something are two different things. And we're seeing her portray that. And I'm beyond convinced that the actor is becoming the character. It's a beautiful meld, and I thought her performance was fantastic. I also, despite Stan sort of alluded to this disagreement between the two of us, I loved the inclusion of the Metron. I just, first of all, that Metron. Yes, I know, Stan, you're very fond of that particular meme.
It's a beautiful picture.
That Metron can get it. And
yes.
I'm just saying, I don't normally say that about other pale, bald people, but like, he can get it. I
want to know what the two of you would do together.
Problematic gay alert.
My immediate reaction is just going to be brunch, but like,
have you ever seen ads when they
he would sit at
ads? I think that's what it would be.
For $14.99 a month, you could find out. Anywho's, the last thing that I had in my notes was just like, thank you, Stan, for acknowledging that like the show doesn't need to be what you want it to be in order to be the show. Also, I will bring back a comment that I made, and this is not directed toward anyone here at the salon, but just like in general, to the masses. Don't go to a sausage factory and be like, "Ew, sausage is gross." Prequels are gonna prequel. Like, you're gonna see shit being built that you already know about. You're gonna see stories being retold. This is the 11th live or 10th live action Star Trek series. Like, shit's gonna repeat itself. Like, move on. Not necessarily to the extent that all of you have complained about. I hear you. I see you. I love you. But I'm just saying, like, there's a lot out there of people just sort of losing their minds. I will say, I'm not going to specifically mention anyone out there that isn't us that loses their mind on a semi-regular basis.
Drag her.
It's transparently performative, and I'm kind of over it. But anyway,
transparently.
It's transparently performative
Because of the Metron.
False outrage.
Okay, no.
False outrage.
No, Matt. We always get it. You're the one not getting it in this moment, and it's delightful. I'm loving it. I'm loving everything about it. The
False
meta nature of
Brain
this.
damage.
This is our holodeck episode. It's very meta.
Yeah, I'm just saying. I wasn't here last week, so I didn't get to comment on anything. But I'm going to comment right now because I can, because I co-created this show. If you watched last week's Strange New Worlds and you are a person of color and you took offense to anything that you saw, I see you, I hear you. I did not receive it that way, probably because of the lens that I see things through, which is clearly very different, and it's going to be very different because I am who I am and I can't help that. But I respect everyone who had a reaction to it. But I'm going to need every white woman who was outraged to just take a seat and just listen to people and stop performing for the sake of clicks. And scene. That's all. Those are my top thoughts.
And that's the show. No.
Well, it is now.
But snaps for that.
Am I the only white woman in the room right now?
Not you, not people here. I'm talking to those people.
Those people?
The other people, not you people. Also, look at the three above you and the one below you. You're not the only white woman in this room.
Thank you.
I thought the Murton or whatever they're called, if I were in their presence of Myrtle.
It's not a single alien. It's never a single alien.
Okay, well, if I was in the presence of numerous Myrtles, I would feel an overwhelming sense of like their disdain.
Yeah.
I get it.
It doesn't matter where I take them to brunch.
You don't want to walk into that
All
Starbucks.
disdain.
That's why
My
I'm so
eyebrows
attracted
aren't
to
done
them.
enough. My skin, everything.
Feel very judged. Yeah.
Super judged.
Yeah.
And that's
And that's
kind of
why
how
I'm
it
attracted to
comes.
them, because they're assholes. I have a problem. Let's talk about that planet, and let's talk about Mortagus. We got Mortagus. We talked about it in our top thoughts. Aside from not being able to see things, Matt, what about the games on that planet between Ortegas and who Trek movie has dubbed the Gorn Liz, and I love that. So Ortegas and Liz, let's talk about them. Matt, you had a finger wag.
See, I thought you were gonna go to the planet first because I
That is where we're at.
well, no, I mean like the physics, like the planet, not like the two of them, but like it really it makes, again, I'm the physics. It makes no sense. What do you mean? What do you mean that it goes so close to the gas giant that it like scoops up some of the gas? It would rip the planet apart. Like, how is that? And also, why is she breathing? Why is she able to be like the suspension of disbelief? I get
Because there are magical aliens running this episode, Matt. Did you not catch that part when the fantastic, sexy bald man showed up?
I get it. I'm
He
just
was
saying.
The gas giant.
He was the gas giant.
He was the gas giant.
I hope he's not gassy.
Chris is on fire tonight. Can I see your wine glass again?
Sure.
Can we get just check in wine level?
I refilled it.
Cheers.
Yeah.
Cheers, ladies.
This is glass 2.5. The two of them together, I actually loved in concept. I loved the dynamic. Also, I think it was Joanne earlier that said like the lopsided ability for communication that the Gorn Liz could understand everything Ortegas was saying, but Ortegas was like, I got a yes and no. Like, I thought that was really, really well done. And the like disagree to say like, no, don't do it was honestly, I think some of the most emotional part of the episode was actually done through that agree, disagree. And I think that from a writing standpoint, from like a captivating standpoint, was wonderful. And again, I'm echoing Will now, just taking everyone else's opinions and just distillating them down. Being able to have yet again a really good physical model to be working with, because we saw it in season 1 with the big blue, the guys that were chasing the comet. And knowing that wasn't CGI and that was all physical model, and they had to figure out how to make the facial features. This was really good that way, but her acting is terrible. I'm sorry. Like, I know that we've talked about, we want more Ortega's storyline. This proved to me that I don't want it, because she's not good. I'm sorry. She's quippy. She's fun. She's a Tom Paris light. Like, she's the Tom Paris before the paywall. That's what I have to say about them on the planet. Besides not being able to see it, conceptually it was great. I loved the Gorn. I think the Gorn was the most captivating part of it, and I actually I physically jumped and recoiled and cried a little bit when La'an just decided to go con and just kill it. So
interesting perspective on what did not happen. Krista, what were your thoughts? You have your hand raised.
I think that it's unfortunate because prior to this, we don't really get to evaluate in our minimal amount of experience the acting chops of one actor or another actor. And I think that it's unfortunate that this is the episode in which she was given the most dialogue, the most scenes, pretty dedicated to her. And she's having to do it as though it's a vocal internal dialogue. There's no one for her to play against except somebody saying agree or disagree. And I would say that, yes, that was done very well. But unfortunately, if you're watching it and she's literally having these out loud conversations with herself, it became painfully obvious that it was a tell, not show situation. Because if you really looked at the situation, this would be a conversation that she's having inside her head. Oh, this is really bad. Nobody says that out loud when they're by themselves on a poison planet with, Malay's Gorn over here. She's having the format of it was bad. The format did not allow the actress to shine if she is capable of shining. I'm not saying that she is or she isn't. I'm just saying that the format on its own, it's really difficult to portray or convey with words what is normally an internal dialogue. That entire episode was an internal dialogue that was voiced. And that's where it becomes...
She could have just been keeping a log the entire time.
I'm sorry?
She could have just been keeping a log the entire time.
Yeah, it could have just gone in and that would have made sense. But she's just
I need to keep a record in case I'm not found.
Yeah.
Right.
Time.
Which even it broke down.
No doubt is also not in the shuttle.
The tricorder, but the thing is, the communicator still could have worked.
Yeah.
All I have left is to be able to do an audio log, and then you give her the chance to do a voiceover the whole time. I agree, Krista.
It's just the format just didn't highlight it. It's not the kind of format that's going to highlight the actor. It's going to come off as forced. That's my personal opinion, bitches.
I want to bring Will up and show his comment, because I agree, because this actor is not untalented. She has talents. We've seen some of them, and I agree with Krista. This is a challenging actor challenge to be in a scene either by yourself for the most of the first chunk, and then with a literal puppet and a stunt performer who is not communicating with you. That said, there are other actors, even including on this show, who would the stunted nature of the dialogue may have been part of the problem, and Spock would have fit better with some of the narration. But I also think about a Nana, Sonequa, Mulgrew. Like,
This would have been a great Rebecca Romaine episode.
yeah, yes. Oh God, she would have acted her whole tiny ass in that tiny mini skirt out.
Well, Gates McFadden did it for Remember Me.
Yeah,
but it wasn't so completely drawn out. She did have these internal.
Your camera is constantly trying to find your wine glass, and I love it.
Okay, here it is.
Will, what were your thoughts? You shared some.
My laptop enables me. I'm going to take the laptop to my AA meeting. Kidding.
Okay, Krista, I'm going to invite you to find that mute button. And Will, what were your thoughts on this?
I'm going to wholeheartedly disagree that this is a difficult acting challenge. As the person who don't want to be like, do a Ken well, actually.
You are.
I'm doing it.
You are doing that, but you are also. I know what you're about to say, and it is true. You are the most experienced actor.
Yeah.
Oh no! Wait, put on your what hat? It's that SAT word that you wanted to be a little bitch calling me out.
Oh, this one?
Your dramaturgy hat.
That word? That one right there? Was this it? Hold on. I'll turn it up louder. Does that work?
This is my new favorite Salon episode of all time.
Wow.
What? I got both.
And you want me to mute?
I can never take time off again.
No, you can't. I got an infinity points. You can't stop me now, bitch.
I can subtract them.
No takesies backsies. Sorry. No takesies backsies.
I gave you temporary authority. I did not give you.
Nope. I cashed all those points out and buried them in the yard. I cashed all the points out. I can't hear you. I cashed all those points out and buried them in the yard. You can't find them. Sorry.
Not a chair talk.
During the Depression, it's all the right mattress. You have to come get them. Sorry. Bye.
You don't have a backyard. You live in a city.
Whatever. You can't prove that. You're not my real mom.
I know your address.
That's
my
true,
dad.
actually.
Never seen my mom.
Okay. This was not a good showing. Like, I think the heart of this episode is clearly beating, but there's a lot to get to it. Whether she maybe didn't have enough time to rehearse this, what was going on with it. I think this is an issue with not the actor themselves. I think this is an issue with the character Ortegas centrally, because she's not serious, but not in a way where it's like, oh, she's just like quippy or whatever. This character in this episode proves it is surface. They tried to give her depth with this trauma stuff, which they try to do which they've tried to do with characters in the past. Here's some trauma. Hopefully this makes this more interesting. The interesting stuff was her relationship with her brother. Her friendship with Uhura is interesting. I think her relationship with the Gorn on the planet is also interesting. But I just think that the character of Ortegas maybe was not thought through fully. They're like, fun, wartime quippy pilot. Okay. And then giving her an episode where this character has to be by themselves for the majority of the episode, acting with another character who speaks very little, is difficult. Jean-Luc Picard did it because the character had depth. Also, it just happens that Patrick Stewart is, a renowned actor and was able to carry that episode with another person who is a renowned actor. I've acted across from puppets. It's actually easier to act across from a puppet than it would be for a CGI character. So they did her a favor having the Gorn be practical. I think that this goes deeper into the character of Ortegas and the fact that the character is not interesting. That's the problem. Not that maybe the actress is not as good. I don't think that's what it is. I think she was playing what was written for the character she plays. And that's a bummer. Thank you.
I agree, Will. I don't think she was ever intended to be anything more than the slick mouth pilot, good for a little joke, kind of upset the status quo every now and again. But they succumbed to this Mortagus rally cry and tried to provide depth where depth is not there. And they did not have the time, or did not take the time to develop fully. And so we get what we get, right? But yeah.
It's just
No
a bummer
Mortagus.
because I think on the whole, I think that this would have been an interesting episode if this was a moment for Ortegas to grow. I just don't think that there was an opportunity for her to do it. It's very strange. Like it could, all of the components are there. You bought all the ingredients for the recipe. You put them all on. You put them together. You followed the recipe. But then what was supposed to be a lasagna, it ended up being like an overcooked pot roast all of a sudden. Like I don't know what happened at the point for this not to work. Do you know what I mean? And I don't think it's her, and I don't think it's the writing, and it's never the production. The production quality on this is incredible. I think it has to do with the actual nuts and bolts mechanics and physics of this character.
But she didn't have to grow, because in the end we find that it was all just kind of a punk. It was all just a sort of disdainful 7 layers removed experiment in which they pitted 2 known enemies against one another. And,
right.
So she's not really required. And it's my understanding that she's not even going to necessarily remember it. So
she's not. I'm actually surprised Will didn't bring that up, because it's his favorite thing to classify or be off the record or quite literally.
I mean, well, at this point, that's just what's going to happen every episode. Sorry.
Right.
I'm just ready for it to happen every episode.
Real quick before Trevor gets back, this is my opportunity to also say Ortegas is the only completely original character with no legacy ties.
But there's
Like,
the thing.
they gave her a brother.
This show in particular has nothing to do but create from scratch, and they don't seem to want to do that.
Okay, but that's exactly what I was going to say, is that we had the chance, fine, follow the rally cry of Mortagus. Great. They have given us nothing. What backstory does she have? She was a war pilot. Okay. Apparently her mom died, but we kind of even glossed over that. Like, there was almost a heartfelt thing there, but we didn't really explain it because...
And that was more her brother's story.
That was more to extrapolate the brother.
Beto's story, like, we don't have any... Like, when you say that you want to develop a character, or you start developing a character and then give her her own episode like this, what do we know about her? What does she... Like, all we know is that surface level... So pick a lane, and it feels like...
I think she flies the ship.
Oh my fucking God. If
And she makes water.
Yeah, like, oh, Beto, I made water. You're a Starfleet officer. I would hope that you could make water.
We all make water, Miss Daisy. Just calm down.
Like, it just... that is one of the things about this episode that just really irritated. It was like, they just hung her out to dry in so many ways. That was like, oh, okay, you want a bunch... Go ahead. Here it is. Here it is. You get nothing. Here's Mortagas. We're not going to put any effort into it. She has to be on the planet with the Gorn. And she has to talk to the Gorn that can only say yes or no. Like, it didn't feel like they cared about her at all.
That's not...
See, I disagree. I think they care about her a lot more than we do, which is why we get an episode.
I don't know.
I think the message was, again, it was the 9th episode of humanizing a perceived enemy.
Sure,
every single episode has been the same
tired trope of, and that's my other thing is this is the second to last episode. This is what you're going to give us? Serious? This is an episode 4 or 5 for me.
Okay, let's change the subject. How many of us want to know about this Area 12 or this section where they go
Division
to
Division 12?
I looked it up.
There, can we do that?
Yes,
I want to.
I have an answer, but it's because it's not canon. We don't know. But so Division 12 has never been mentioned in canon before. But there is a Division 12 in a book for a role-playing game in which Division 12 of Starfleet is a more militaristic or more tactical focused division for dangerous missions. And I actually loved that random nerds. Thank you, Joanne. Yeah, Division 12 inches. Thank you, Will.
They talked about it being about haunted stuff. My ears went, oh, what?
Yeah.
Hello?
Is this the X-Files group?
I
is that
love when this show drops new lore, and I love when the newer Trek shows, because there's a ton of beta canon now with books and whatnot. I love when they pull from that, because there's a really creative universe with all of these authors, comic book storytellers, etc. I wanted more of that. That's what I wanted. Like, and they could have weaved some of that in with her, like her dialogue out on the planet. Like, during my time with Division 12, we trained for this. Like something like they dropped a little nugget and then gave us nothing else, which I hope that they explore in the future.
You know what would be great? Give us Division 12 instead of Section 31.
No, give us all.
No, what I'm saying is, like, all of those concepts that people want to do with Section 31, like, oh, they're the big bad guy. Oh, they can do whatever they want. Oh, they're going on all these. Give that to Division 12, and then it can.
I don't remember hearing anyone say that. What I'm saying is what you're talking about is a spy organization. It's counterintelligence. It's all of that. What I'm talking about is let's go to the spooky places. Come on. Let's grab some wine, go to the spooky places.
In Lower Deck, Lower Decks had Division 14, which was the farm where Boimler went, where Starfleet officers with weird medical shit go.
Right.
And this episode seemed to suggest that there's a Division 12 for the spooky tactical shit, which I want to see. I want to see that show, Star Trek X.
I want to see that show.
Trevor, you have your pen up.
Made this episode about that show.
I do have my pen up. This is not exactly on topic, but I'm also not entirely clear on what the topic was again. So I just want to say that one of the things that I find hilarious, not referring to any of the six of you, but I'm talking to the fandom, is how quickly, Voyager was basically a rehash of Next Gen, just in a different location. Enterprise was a weird attempt to be very TOS-like. So fans were like, we want something different. Stop repeating yourselves. So we got something very, very different. So Star Trek Discovery comes out. And then fandom says, no, not like that. And so then the show, then the franchise pivots and gives us Strange New Worlds. And people are like, no, not like that. We want different Star Trek. Like, the fuck does everybody want? And not related to this episode specifically, but like there does come a point where it's like, just sit down, shut up, and watch television. Like, it's fine. Nothing's gonna hurt you. It's okay. And I'm not saying this episode is a great example of that. But this season has not been as terrible as I think people are acting like it has been. Mostly because there was a weird 2-year lull between, like, this show lost a lot of momentum because we did have. It's kind of why, like, I don't want to get into the specifics and I don't want to like nitpick last week's episode, but I feel like last week's episode could have landed a little bit differently had it been closer to the one where Spock had become human. Like, it was clear that those episodes, if you watch them back to back, it doesn't change everything and it doesn't fix everything and it's still kind of problematic, but it does feel different. It lands differently. But I think season 3 of Strange New Worlds, just in general, got completely fucked by having a 2-year gap between season 2 and season 3. And it's kind of, I think, what we're seeing here. I don't know.
Not only the gap, but the strike, right? And then they're scrambling to recover. This is still residue from.
This is very clearly the strike is over. Let's move production up faster so that we can get this shit done. And it's why this back half has been so fucking clumsy, because it doesn't have it. It feels unpolished because there's no fucking polish.
I think there's also 2 other aspects at play here. One is the state of the world, like it being what it is in 2025, and production in new Star Trek, not new Trek toxic, but like in newer production, it takes longer for shows to come out. And so if they're writing for the vibe of 2 years ago, now we've got like shit's very different. It's sort of two sides of the same coin. The world is what it is right now, and the world as it was when they wrote for a production that takes so much longer, it can miss the mark just by missing the moment.
Things written 2.5 years ago feel different now. Yeah. That tracks.
Speaking of segues, let's talk about what happened on the ship.
Smooth.
Yeah, I know. Boo, boo, tomato. I love Celia in this episode, in every episode. She is fantastic, and I agree. I think it was Trevor who said earlier, like she's embodying this character. She's becoming this character. Like the essence is there in every way.
While still somehow working into her performance an homage to Nichelle, like it's
and
kind
keeping
of
it her own.
Yes, 1,000%. She's not overdoing it. It's just it's one ingredient in a very complicated formula of her performance, and it's palpable. Yes,
and I loved the range that she showed in this episode. The determination, the terror, the fear of losing her friend, and bending or breaking, fudging the numbers. I love that. Like, I think they did it right, making it, because the thing was, we need 60. We've never heard this before, I don't think, but we need at least 60% censor something science. Who gives a shit? It's Strange New Worlds. I'm not trying to be a bitch. It's just it is what it is. And she's like, oh, it was 54%. I'm just going to and make it 61. It wasn't egregious. She didn't kill anybody, but she's fudging the numbers a little bit to save her friend. And the ship was going to be in danger, but it wasn't like we might die. I don't know. It, like, Trevor, you're laughing. I don't
I'm
know
laughing. I'm laughing at Benji's comment. No, I'm laughing at Benji's comment. But the one thing I will say that
I'm so sorry.
The one thing I will say was missing, and I wish had happened in the quick little Pike conversation, was an acknowledgement from Uhura of what she would have felt like had she fudged the numbers and been wrong. Like that didn't feel like it got called out, because it was okay that she fudged the numbers because everything worked out. But she didn't really acknowledge, if I broke the rules and someone died, or this ship was put in even more danger and people got hurt, what would that have felt like? Like an acknowledgement that, yes, she didn't fudge it that much, so it didn't make her a horrible person, but like, oh fuck, I could have really screwed this up.
I wanted a scene with her and Una. Like,
I always want a scene with her and Una, but yes.
Yes. But like, I know you and the captain discussed this, but I want you to be aware. I want you to know that I'm aware of this as well. And unlike the captain or something, there was something in there, like not like the Ortegas blatantly breaking or disobeying orders, outing the ship to the Klingons and literally putting them in danger. Like, the ship was going to try this potentially. This was just like a little bit of assuredness that it would be worthwhile to do it. So it wasn't as egregious, but I wanted something with, I liked Captain Pike's reaction of like, but maybe don't do that. Like, it's very Pike. It's very Pike. And something with Una being a little more aggressive, but not like, listen, I'm not going to put this in your file, but unlike the captain, I want you to know how lucky you are that your choice did not go the other way.
Yes, and I don't know that I'd necessarily need the criticism coming from the guy who knows that he's going to be alive at least for the next 5 years. Like, this man knows his future, so it's a little cheating.
But he doesn't know about other people. He doesn't know who's going to die on a ship when he does crazy things.
He also
And I
doesn't
want them to
technically know.
explore that more.
He
Thank you,
doesn't know if
Trevor,
he-
triggering my explore Pike's future wants.
He could change the future. Knowing the future can change the future. So he doesn't necessarily know that that's exactly for sure now.
And it could be the past, because sometimes the past is the future.
A lot of
And
times the past is the
sometimes-
future.
Joe,
And sometimes the future is
right
unwritten.
now, these dumbass nerds, and she's off camera now. Okay.
We don't have time to talk about time.
Anybody else have final thoughts? I think I saw, Will, your hand go up about what was going on the ship.
Yeah. Yeah. I got bored with everyone talking, so I have to think what my point was.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I think what this show does really well is it serves the underserved characters from the original series really well, because I think what they've done with Una and what they've done with Uhura and like Chapel to a certain extent, I think I've liked the expanded, the more we learn about them, because it feels like it's character based. It's not like, oh, we're seeing this new alien, blah blah blah. And I think that this with Uhura, with specifically with Celia, I think she's not trying to do an impression or like an idea of who, like do an impression of Uhura, but she's playing like I feel the youth of that character a lot, which I really appreciate. And like the lessons she's learning are not like overt, like someone scolding her or being like, you did this wrong, we have to fix it. And like Pike just telling her like, you could have I would have done it regardless of the numbers. And it's more of like her trust, like her learning to trust Pike and trust the captain and trust that everyone cares about the same people that she does. So that's like a nice moment without it being really like ham-fisted and handed to me and like thrown in my face, like here's this moment. So it was really I appreciate that moment a lot. And I just like Celia in this role so much. Like she's so wonderful, and there's like an effervescence to the character when she's on screen, and her performances are always like, she's just lovely. Anyway,
Anyone else have comments on what happened on the ship, or what was going down on the ship when the ship was going down?
No, can we get to the planet and La'an?
Yeah.
Let's go there. We may as well.
Yeah.
It's time.
Joanne, or well, Krista.
Oh, it's Joanne. Joanne had thoughts.
Yeah.
Well, no, I just thought it was so. If we want to invoke that's not Star Trek, when did we land and shoot first, right? With no questions, but immediately, I mean, we know again, kind of La'an has trauma, but you land, you know that there's this rescue attempt. They come running out kind of together, and you shoot the Gorn because they're Gorn. It's very ACAB.
Yeah.
There is a slight move from the Gorn that goes to it puts its hand on Ortegas' shoulder. I think to maybe protect.
She was wearing a hoodie.
Something, yeah. I mean, there was a
Literally.
movement, but it doesn't justify it. Just doesn't justify it, because why would you beam down and immediately shoot something like that?
Yeah.
Right.
Also, phasers have a
really
stun setting.
intense reaction.
Yeah.
And they have When did they go down with phasers on kill for?
Yeah. She was
shooting in the direction of Ortegas.
She was touching a human while Gorn.
Well, because they didn't. I think there were two things. One, to Matt's point, it was dark, and two,
Didn't that mention the darkness of this episode?
I think so. That may have been Matt. Maybe somebody else mentioned it. But to me, there was again, I don't mean to be like I could have done it better, but like the direction choice here, there was a way to have something happen with the Gorn to scare La'an into shooting better than what happened here. And maybe they talked about it, and maybe they very specifically wanted it to be this. Maybe they wanted it to be La'an is just trigger happy, and that's something that they need to address. I don't think they're going to, because it could have been, well, two things. One, they should have said on the ship, we're detecting a Gorn life sign as well, which could have given them reason to set their fate. We know phasers on stun don't affect the Gorn maximum setting. That could have helped that choice. And more like Will's right. The Gorn put the hand on, and La'an may have misunderstood that. It was so dark that it was hard for us as the audience to see that. And I think that could have been done better. Like the whole shit was on fire. Like maybe the Gorn caught fire and like jumped out and roared. That could have this is so like I should have written this episode.
No, but that's a good point.
There was an easy solution already in the story. Something should have jumped out of the thing, the holes in the ground, those little scary things.
Yes.
The Gorn jumped in front of it to protect Erica. Yes. Was already injured. It hits a Gorn artery. I don't know. There was already a story way to make the Gorn sacrifice itself for Erica, or only one of them could beam back because the ground was falling. I don't know. So like any number of things could have happened to make it not La'an just shoots random Gorn. It just didn't feel right.
And I just hope they don't. I hope they don't just drop this layer between La'an and Ortegas now. But Krista, I see your hand, and then Joanne, did you come off mute?
Yeah, I'm about to, but I want Krista to go.
I think that La'an being trigger happy, I think it's worse because as related to the previous episode where it's my understanding it was suggested that she was more Romulan than she was Vulcan, and she was clearly paranoid and seeing enemies everywhere and wanting to be super fractious. And I think that you can show me many scenes with her doing yoga or dancing with Spock. But if the alternate scenes are going to be, I'm just going to shoot anything that shows up in front of me, you're kind of making her a little one-dimensional. Like you're not adding any depth to the character. But it was also the necessary plot device for Ortegas to really, kind of exercise her inner traumas. And that's what I mean by it all being very contrived. It's all very predictable.
Will is right in the chat though. Like the Gorn had to be killed because then the Metron says, "Oh, you're not ready yet. We have to do some more research," and then that brings us to Arena, and then the Metrons are a little more satisfied, and then we get to be friends with them if we're so lucky to be friends with those cunty bitches in 10,000 years. So it has to be. So it was a choice for that reason. I think the appropriate thing to do at this stage, which they will not do, would be to actually have appropriate fallout from it that addresses the issue, like, oh, you can't touch a human while Gorn because that means that you shoot them. Just like, you can't be driving while black or, what have you. If they did a story like that after, then that could be interesting and prescient. They won't. So they just sort of fulfilled this, and La'an was the most appropriate character to do that. And they seem to be sneaky and be setting this stuff up in earlier episodes of this season. So
yeah,
I
agree.
Also said in the chat.
I agree. They said it, she said in the documentary, I would shoot, and sometimes you got to shoot. I get that. And so I do think it was a deliberate choice. They didn't want to sacrifice. They wanted to kill the Gorn or whatever for all these reasons or whatever. But I guess where I'm stuck is I do want they're setting it up to kind of like, Erica says, I don't know kind of how La'an's my friend, but I'm gonna take a cue from Fathery. I'm gonna call her Vergornia, is also my friend. And so, I don't know how I feel about that. So I don't want it to be just a dynamic between Ortegas and Laan that they have to work out and reconcile. There needs to be like Laan should have been under arrest. There should have been an inquiry. I want some systematic justice for this moment.
Yes.
I guess is what I'm saying. Right?
I really want to I just want to say yes, 100%. And that's why I actually like that Laan did. I hate that Laan did it as a Starfleet officer. I like that Laan did it because we've had this whole thread throughout her thing. And Fathery made a really great point of that human emotion with, the Klingons, with Burnham. Now Laan is the Gorn. I would love to have now Laan is realizing it wasn't just Ortegas that has to have this, moment of realization that the Gorn aren't just bloodthirsty monsters, that now Laan has to really swallow the pill of this is another society. Mm-hmm. So I actually really liked that Laan was the one that did it. And I really hope, like you guys said, that it does actually carry through, because it would be such a wonderful... It lays the groundwork for what Starfleet becomes, because we have to remember, this is pre-TOS, this is pre-TNG, pre-Voyager, all of that, when Starfleet is a little more trusting of other cultures. Starfleet is we have had these other experiences, and we have had to learn the hard way that the Gorn weren't just monsters. The Klingons weren't just bloodthirsty. They had honor. They had this system. In this case, it actually makes sense that she did shoot first. We've seen it coming. But it also lays the groundwork to say, okay, great. What can we learn from this? As Starfleet officers, we have to take stock of, we can't just go in assuming we know what the outcome is going to be. And that's what I would love to see of I don't know how to trust, Ortegas is the perfect first person to have that lesson of I was injured, they took half my hand off, but then I made good friends with this, because a lot of those other people, they were on the Enterprise, they didn't get to go through the Klingon War, they haven't been through all that yet. So this is a great first step for Starfleet to become Starfleet, where you take a step back and go, okay, I see the situation. I know what we have had in the past. Is this going to follow that? Or is this maybe the chance for us to make a better choice, to make a better future, to choose peace? And I think that would be a really interesting thing to pursue.
And it would be great Trek. It would be great Star Trek. I never had this experience with the Klingons. But I had it with the Gorn, and I realized, oh, maybe I'm wrong about Klingons too.
And then she says, the Klingons are even more human than the Gorn were. And if I can see this with the Gorn, oh my God, what have I been what do I not know about the Klingons then?
Because one of the best things about this episode is that it wasn't, not to draw attention to a comment that's annoying me in the chat, but it wasn't just a Gorn that was shot. It was a living being that was an innocent. And that was kind of the whole fucking point of the episode. If you didn't get that, there's an amazing show called Star Trek that you should start watching. But yeah, the person that Laan killed. It would be nice if there were, to Joanne's point, not just repercussions, but actual learning for these characters that came from what was essentially a murder. And that would be a wonderful thing to see in season 4. I just don't think we're going to, which is unfortunate.
You know what Trev, I think you'll appreciate this. This just clicked to me. What I would have loved to see is instead of Ortegas pacing around her quarters when she was talking to Uhura, give her a moment over a torpedo casing in front of that AR wall that they beamed the Gorn back. They put the Gorn in a torpedo casing. They saw it as another human or another being, and they gave it a final send-off. Ortegas was the one that said, no, this was my friend. this person was shot. They're coming back with me. I promised them that they would make it off this planet. And they bring the Gorn body back. And they like I think that would have been an incredible like end to this. And have that same conversation could have happened. Like I don't know how to reconcile what happened with La'an with, you know, what happened with this Gorn, and to be able to have this send off like that. I think that would have been fun.
Well, you've got Ortega and the Gorn, Liz, and they land and they're going to save Ortega. And they don't necessarily know that she's alive. I mean, like really, what you know of the Gorn, Ortega shouldn't be alive. The Gorn should have already killed Ortega, and this whole thing should have just been a lark. You know,
I also love that Ortega is the singular of Ortega.
Just what?
Because you said Ortega. She should have killed Ortega. Like that's the singular of the Ortegas.
More than one Ortega is an Ortega.
You know what? I don't speak Spanish.
Slice her right down the middle. Trevor.
What?
It's time. Girl, it is time. Can you land the ship, please?
It's been a while, but I think I still remember how. There were 2 problematic gay alerts, which is a little disappointing. There was 1 problematic ally alert. There was a Bev alert. There was a Kenwell actually. And there were 2 explosive saucer separations, which I think is delightful. I gave 500 bonus points to Benji for... I gave 1,000 bonus points to Krista for having a mouth. I gave her an additional 500 bonus points for Forlorn Gorn. I gave 250 bonus points to Krista's tassel for getting through the back door. I gave 1,000 bonus points to Joanne for being ready for Ortegas to die. I gave her an additional 500 bonus points for being annoyed that she had to watch TOS. I gave 350 bonus points to Matt for being wrong with such incomparable gusto. I gave him an additional 50 bonus points for actually being right about that whole coffin thing. And last but not least, I gave 1.02 bonus points to Will for not wanting to see a uterus, and I gave Will an additional 1.3 bonus points for getting his own point.
I don't need the extra points because I have Infinity, but thank you so much. I appreciate it.
That's why you're only getting a grand total of 3.32 points.
Hey, you know what? It's not the size of the points, it's how you use them.
You just keep telling yourself that, sweetheart.
Size queens aside, this is one of my favorite episodes of the Salon of all time. Tonight was delightful. I want to thank our friends in the chat for being lively. Everybody watching this live, watching it later, and seeing us or hearing us on a podcast platform coming as soon as tomorrow. We will be back next Thursday for the final episode of Strange New World Season 3, and get excited for it. It's going to be next Thursday, 6:30 p.m. Pacific, as always, live here on YouTube, podcast platforms the next day, at Salon Trek, everywhere you get your nonsense. Thank you very much, and until next week, don't shoot first.
All hands abandon ship. Proceed to the nearest evacuation zone immediately.